Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be solving the equation 5 to the power of x is equal to 50. So to first start with this problem, let's test different values of x. So if x is 1, then I get 5 to the power of 1, which is equal to 5, and this is too low. Now if x equals 2, I get 5 to the power of 2, which is 25, and this again is too low. Now if x equals 3, then I have 5 to the power of 3, which is 125, and this is way too high. So we know that the value of x is going to be somewhere in between 2 and 3, meaning it's going to be a decimal. So how are we going to find the exact value of x? Well, to start, we're going to be using logarithms. So I'm going to take the log on both sides, so I get log 5 to the power of x is equal to log 50. And the reason I'm doing this is because logarithms come with a special property that state that if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, I can actually move the exponent b to the front, so this turns into b times log a. So in this case, I have log 5 to the power of x, and we can think of x as b, and I can move this x to the front, so now I get x times log 5 is equal to log 50. And now remember, we want to find the value of x, so all we have to do that is to get rid of this log 5 by dividing both sides by log 5. So now these two cancel out, and I get x is equal to log 50 over log 5. And now let's simplify this a little to get the exact decimal value. So log 50 is the same thing as log of 10 times 5. And another property of logarithms is that if I have something in the form log of a times b, this is equal to log a plus log b. So now this turns into log 10 plus log 5 over log 5, which is the same thing as log 10 over log 5 plus log 5 over log 5, which is just 1. And log 10 is also equal to 1. So I get x equals 1 over log 5 plus 1. So now all that's left to do is do 1 divided by log 5 in my calculator. So I get x is equal to 1.431 plus 1, which is equal to 2.431. So this is my answer. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to solve the equation x to the power of 12 minus 1 is equal to 0. So to solve this, I'm going to first rewrite this as x to the power of 6 to the power of 2 minus 1 squared is equal to 0. And the reason I'm doing this is so I can use the property a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So this turns into x to the power of 6 plus 1 times x to the power of 6 minus 1 is equal to 0. So this gives me two equations. I get x to the power of 6 plus 1 equals 0, and x to the power of 6 minus 1 equals 0. Now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to rewrite x to the power of 6 minus 1 equals 0 as x to the power of 3 to the power of 2 minus 1 squared is equal to 0. So I can use this property again and get x to the power of 3 plus 1 times x to the power of 3 minus 1 is equal to 0. Now, for x to the power of 3 minus 1 equals 0, I'm going to rewrite this as x to the power of 3 minus 1 to the power of 3 equals 0, so I can use the property a to the power of 3 minus b to the power of 3 is equal to a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So this turns into a minus b times a squared plus a plus 1 is equal to 0. Sorry, this turns into x minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0, which gives me yet another two equations. So now I have x minus 1 equals 0 and x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. So for x minus 1 equals 0, all I have to do is add 1 on both sides, and I get x is equal to 1. And for x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0, I can use the quadratic formula. So by using it, I get x is equal to -1 plus or minus the square root of 3i over 2. So these are two more solutions. And now we aren't done yet because we also have to solve these. So now I have x to the power of 3 plus 1 is equal to 0. And I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, so I get x to the power of 3 is equal to -1, meaning x is also equal to -1. So this is another solution. Now for x to the power of 6 plus 1 equals 0, I'm going to again subtract 1 on both sides. So I get x to the power of 6 is equal to -1. And if I take the 6th root, I get x is equal to 6th root of -1, which is equal to -1 to the power of 1 over 6. So now, the 6th root of -1 is, say, we know that I is equal to the square root of -1, which is equal to -1 to the power of 1/2. So -1 to the power of 1 over 6 is the same thing as -1 to the power of 1/2 minus something. So now 1 over 6, or I should say 1/2 minus 1 over 6 is equal to 1 over 3. So 1 over 6 plus 1 over 3 is equal to 1/2. We know this, meaning we have -1 to the power of 1 over 6 and this plus, or sorry, 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3 is what we can rewrite 1 over 6 as. Now, this is the same thing as 1/2 plus -1 over 3. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m plus n, this is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So this is going to equal -1 to the power of 1/2 times -1 to the power of -1 over 3. -1 to the power of 1/2 is the square root of -1, which is equal to I. So we get I times -1 to the power of -1 over 3, which is the same thing as 1 over -1 to the power of 1 over 3, which is equal to -1. So I get I times -1, which is equal to -I, which is my final solution.